Okay, so I'm going to try and film this myself. You have to excuse me if it's a bit difficult to see some stuff because I've used both hands to do some stuff. This is how to strip down and change the seals on your GSXR 400 GK73a carburettors. Okay, so you've already got the carbs off the bike, as you can see. These are facing with the inlet manifolds up. I leave the throttle cable on my bike, on my carbs, because it's easier. I just take it off at the grip end. The first thing you're going to need to do is remove the float bowl. So you do this with these two screws here, this one and this one down here. Now, if they're the original screws, they do chew the heads up quite badly, so I suggest using an impact driver for it. I've replaced all my screws so I can go ahead and do it without an impact driver. Put the phone down while I undo the screws. Okay, now the screws are undone, you're going to have to carefully remove the float bowl. Like so. This is the inside of your float bowl. As you can see, there's a rubber gasket around the edge. Don't damage the gasket, you will need it. And here's your float assembly. So you can just go ahead and carefully remove the float assembly. Give me a second. Let's try and do this. Just be careful when you do that, you don't want to break the delicate plastic of the float assembly. So there's your float assembly, and just a quick go ahead. There's the floats, and just in there is your needle valve. Well, float needle valve. Okay, so now you're left with the bottom of the carburetor. Here is your brass main jet. Here's your pilot jet down there. Okay, now the next step you're going to have to do is remove the carburetor top, the cap. Okay, so again, there's two screws there. Again, I suggest you use impact drivers to remove them. I'm going to go ahead and remove them now. Okay, so now your screws are out. You're going to carefully take the float cap from the top of this coil off. There is a spring there to make sure that it doesn't jump out. And there is also a tiny seal just there on where the vacuum gauge would go. So you're going to carefully take that O-ring out. This is an O-ring you do have to replace. In your O-ring kit there should be a small O-ring that you have to replace. Just pop that carefully in your carburetor cap because it is delicate and it's tiny. As I say, if you're replacing the O-rings anyway. Next thing you're going to do is carefully grab this rubber diaphragm. Don't pinch it or anything too hard, just carefully grab it and lift it out. Okay, so there's your needle and your slide. Put that across to one side. Right, the next thing you're going to want to do is come back to the bottom of the carb, your main jet. Now this bit's going to be quite fiddly for me to do and awkward. You're going to need a flat-headed screwdriver with quite a big flat head on it. So, just change the head over. Okay. So what you have to do is undo this jet a turn and push it. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Let me try and show you what I mean anyway. So, undo the jet a turn, 2, and then give it a push and you'll hear it click. Okay, I'll do it again. You're going to want to keep doing this until the jet's out of the cup body. There you go. That is your brass main jet. I suggest you put some Carb cleaner on it and blow it through with some compressed air to give it a clean out. Okay, so you've now removed the main jet. Next thing I want to do is remove the emulsion tube, along with the slide holder. What you'll not notice is there is a gap just there between where the emulsion tube is and the slide holder and the carb body. So what you're going to want to do is get a small flat-headed watch screwdriver, put it in the gap and just lever it upwards. Okay? Then you can use your thumb to push the slide holder up and out the carb body, then pull it out. There's your slide holder and emulsion tube for the main jet. Okay? Now the first O-ring you're going to want to replace is that one there on the bottom of the slide holder. It's a bit of a pain to do. Let's just use a small watch screwdriver to lever it off, and then push a new one back on. When you put the new one back on, soak it in some petrol first, dip it in some petrol in a little pot, and then put it on because it makes the rings expand and it's easier to fit them back in the carb. Okay, so now you've got a mainly stripped carb body. You don't have to remove the pilot jet. You can do if you want to, with just a watch screwdriver up there. You can now see all the way through the carb body from the top to the bottom. So the next two O-rings you're going to want to replace are on the float assembly. It's that black one there and that one there. Make sure you're using the right type of O-rings here, because these are immersed in fuel, and as such if you use standard O-rings then they'll just degrade and fall apart, and we'll be doing this again in another week or so. Again, soak them in petrol and put them back in on the plastic base. It's a bit difficult to do, but you can certainly do it. So once you've done those three, you're going to want to push this back into the carb body. I'm just going to give mine a little clean out first. So there you go, just going to push it into the carb body. Make sure you've got it the right way around. It is keyed, so you don't have to worry about it. There we go, just give it a push. And now it's back in. What you're going to do to put the rest of the way down is you're going to take your main jet, and very carefully, because it is soft brass, screw it in by hand so you don't cross thread it. And then you're going to get your screwdriver, big flathead again, making sure not to twist it in, mind, don't over tighten it, and just tighten it up. There you go. Okay, now that's done, you can pop in your slide and needle again. There we go. Just want to stick your watch screwdriver down the centre of the CV, so you can push the needle down into the bottom of the car again. Okay. Next step is you're going to want to put your little rubber O-ring, you're going to do one, in the top of the carb. So that goes just where you can see that little hole there, which goes around there. Like so. Take your spring, pop it down the hole, and then get your carb top, and then where you've got the little nipple there, make sure you've got the middle of the carb on the spring, and just push it down on top. Then you can screw it down, so just put the phone down while I screw it down. Okay, so now you've got your carb screwed back on. You can put your carbs around. Grab your float assembly. Goes that way in. Okay. And you carefully push it around that brass tube there. Now, unfortunately, I can't feel myself pushing this in, but it's quite difficult to push in. You're going to need both hands to do it. And it will take some effort, and yes, you'll probably have to take it out and put it back in a few times to do it. Make sure you've lubed the O-rings up with fresh petrol so that they seat easier, and best of luck with this part. Okay, now you've got your O-rings and float assembly seated back. I hope you've been careful and haven't managed to break the plastic. You can go ahead and put your float ball back on. So, we just grab the float ball, take the screws out of it. Now remember, you've got this rubber gasket around the edge. That should remain seated in the float ball. It's quite a complex gasket, but if you do break it, you're going to have to put another one, so try not to break it. As far as I'm aware, the only place that stocks them is Robinson's Foundry, Suzuki dealership in the UK, so it's in the UK anyway, so it's worth contacting them if you do need any parts for this bike at all, because they tend to have what you need, and they have all the part features to go with it. So if I just put this down while I put the screws back in. Okay, now there is another O-ring to do, which is in that little tube there on that screw. I won't do it just now today, because I don't have the O-ring with me. I do need to change it. However, I will do another video shortly explaining how to do that. So that's your fully reassembled carburetors. You can now go and put them back on the bike once you've done all four of them. And of course you change that little O-ring up on there. That adjustment screw there. It's not too difficult to do, it just takes a bit of fiddling. You can go back on the bike, put some petrol in them, and hope they start. Best of luck.